X-Files theme music seems appropriate for this.
Sure.
Today, NASA announced a breakthrough in the search for life outside our solar system. It announced it discovered 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting a star. 3 of those are in the Goldilocks zone, which means they have the potential to hold liquid water and possibly life. These planets are relatively close, 40 light years away. They orbit a dim red dwarf star about the size of Jupiter. It's called TRAPPIST-1. Scientists are going to need to now study the atmospheres to determine whether they are truly capable of supporting life.
Okay, so Dr. Robert Keogh is an associate professor of physics at SMU. He is also team leader for SMU's astronomy program. Dr. Keogh, thanks for being here, first of all.
Sure. No
all right, I am about nerd level excited about this. I really am. It's really exciting.
Cool.
Is it? Should I be? Give me some. Quantify it.
I think this is a really surprising jump in our ability to understand Earth-like planets. Just looking through the results that they announced today, and considering what we knew before, it actually doubles the number of planets just in this one system that we knew existed that were particularly Earth-like. So it's really, there's over 3,000 planets known, but very few that are so Earth-like.
All right, so now NASA did an announcement, and here's a nugget from that announcement. Listen.
The discovery gives us a hint that finding a second Earth is not just a matter of if, but when.
Okay,
yeah.
So you can take that 2 ways. The one way I think we shouldn't be taking it is a second Earth, we can go habitate this place and we'll go move there and live there. That's not what he's talking about, right?
No,
he's talking about we can watch this place, we can know other Earths-like places have formed with life.
That's right. So one of the biggest questions in science is how unique is life on Earth? Mm-hmm. What would it look like somewhere else? And so that's a big part of this, the mission of this. So here, looking at these results, it really gives you a big jump in thinking, wow, we're going to be finding planets that have oxygen atmospheres and Earth-like. These things are very, very similar to Earth. We don't know, there's a lot of things we don't know about them, but it definitely feels like we've jumped a lot closer.
First, talk about how we discovered these planets. It's a unique way. There was telescopes basically focused on this dwarf star, and it just sat there on the star looking for like blurs in front of the so tell me how that works.
Yeah, so basically these stars are very small, but the planets are very small as well because they're the size of Earth. And so the planet, as it passes in front of the star, if it happens to be in our line of sight, it blocks a little bit of the star's light and the star gets just a little dimmer. These are really tiny changes, but a sensitive instrument like the ones used by NASA and other places are able to detect that and by looking at those measurements figure out stuff about the planet.
Okay, so we had some smaller telescopes pointed at this. They picked up a couple of planets and then NASA gets the big boy out and points it and finds 5 more. Let's talk about this 40 light years away. Everybody's saying how close that is. I guess relatively, but it's not close. No, we're not going to travel there. We're not going to be able to send an explorer there ever. Well, not ever. No limit, but not in the near future.
Yeah. No, it would take us millions of years to get there, at least with sort of current technology. But however, it is among the closest systems that we know. We know systems that are 10 times closer, but that's about it. So this is a very close star, and it has a benefit because we may be able to see these planets much better than if we saw them on a star that would be, say, more distant away. So we'll be able to learn more because of that closeness.
Right. And somebody promised me big revenue if I said, yeah, we couldn't travel this way, but what if we could do this? I'm just kidding.
Not going there, yeah.
I know. All right, so talk about the Goldilocks zones. We're going to study 3 particular planets. I assume that means not too hard, not too soft, just right. We're looking for a situation that's just right.
Yeah, so all of the 7 planets might theoretically be able to have liquid water, but 3 of them are actually within the range of temperatures that are similar to Earth. And these planets are fairly close together. So, but there's one in particular, the middle one, TRAPPIST-1F, which is particularly Earth-like. They're all very Earth-like in their size. And so those planets, those 3, that will be the focus, trying to figure out their atmosphere.
We're starting to wrap this up. Tell me how we would find out if there's life.
So there's going to be, right now, the Hubble Space Telescope and other things will be looking to get evidence of the composition of the atmosphere. Is there oxygen? That would be a sign of life. And then there will be a telescope called the James Webb Telescope in 1 year that will go up. And that will have very powerful instruments to really extend these searches.
Last question. I read that the planets don't seem to rotate and that there's always one side of each planet that is always in the dark.
The nearby, the ones that are closest to the star, that's the case. We don't know about the ones further out.
But that would hurt life if that's
that
at
might
least in the
hurt
dark
life.
side.
It would certainly create a much different climate, and so we'd have to find out.
But it's exciting time, right?
I think this is a very exciting find. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Dr. Keogh, thanks for coming
Sure.
in. Great
Absolutely.
talk. Thanks.